confident child. It sounds like something that might be nice to have, but it has a lot more depth and importance to it than just how they show if they're confident or not. Today we're going to take a different level of confidence. We're going to discuss how the child feels about themselves, how we as people all care about our self-worth, how this can be a part of who we are and affects our personality and our mental health and our success in life, how we are at peace at times, how hard we are on ourselves. So we're going to talk about self-esteem, how to raise a child with a healthy level of self-esteem, because self-esteem is very important. As we were saying, it affects a lot of things that is related to our future. It also affects our behavior. If I feel bad about myself, I'm much more likely to stop trying harder to be better. I'm much more likely to try to gain the approval of others. So this is a good reminder to always remind the child and help the child that what's important is how I feel about myself. Self-esteem is about how I see myself and value myself with everything that I've got. Things that I like, the things that I need to work on, and maybe the things that I'm having challenges accepting. And the more healthy my self-esteem is, the more likely I am to be confident, to love myself, to love others, to try harder, to take risks, to accept failures, to be honest, to try new things, to explore my potential, because I'm not really worried about what others are thinking all the time. If I have a void inside me and I'm not feeling good enough about myself, the main source of my self-esteem would be what others think. So if I don't have a healthy level of self-esteem, if my self-esteem is low, most probably I would be trying to impress others and please them. So I'd be more prone to peer pressure. I would respond to it more. I would do what others would like me to do. I'd be worrying about how I look. I'd be trying to do what makes me fit, regardless of it matches what I believe in or not. If my self-esteem is not healthy, I'd be more likely to lie because I want to say the things that others would accept rather than what's going on inside me. I'd be more likely to what has been found interesting is sometimes self-esteem is related to bullying, for instance. If I don't feel good about myself, I might try to do this to others as well. So I would try to put others down because I'm already feeling bad about myself. And if I'm being bullied and I feel bad about myself, I'm more likely to be affected by this. Because if I'm already feeling bad and then someone tries to make fun of me, put me down, it's gonna hit me much harder. It has also been found that if my self-esteem is not healthy, I might be more likely to use substance because these things are usually presented making me think that they're gonna make me feel better. So if I'm already feeling bad about myself most of the time, I would look for anything to give me this feeling or satisfaction, and at the same time I would trying to do what others are doing that is making them whatever, but we can call it in teenage years, more popular, more liked, more famous, getting more attention for trouble, whatever you may call it. So let's think of it this way. A healthy level of self-esteem would not only affect the behavior of my children now and on the short term, it will also affect them on the long term. So how do we develop our self-esteem? A very big part of self-esteem is related to how my parents see me. Think of it like you are their mirror. From the very beginning, from my very first weeks in life, I start to develop an idea about myself. Am I important or not? Am I valuable or not? Do people get me and respond to my needs, or I'm not important? I can be ignored, my feelings can be ignored, I can cry for hours, no one cares about me. And as I start to grow up, I start looking for cues. I'm still trying to figure out who I am, so I see how my parents see me. As far as I know, these are the people who love me the most, who know me the most. So Whatever they see in me, I take it for granted. I believe that this is actually me. So let's stop and think for a second. What message are we telling our kids about themselves? Are we telling them that they are capable, they are strong, they are able to learn anything, they are able to learn from their mistakes, they are able to accept themselves, they are accepted the way they are loved the way they are? Or are we giving them messages that can stay with them forever, like putting labels, for instance? You're not a hard worker, you are a liar, you're not responsible enough, you're irresponsible, you are not kind enough. This is a good reminder to always talk about actions, not about the child themselves. To talk about what they're doing. If they do something wrong, we talk about the action, we don't put labels. Labels are very dangerous and can stay with us for life. So be very aware of the words that we're saying to our children. Sometimes it's not even the words, it's the look, how they feel they're affecting us. If my mom looks always disappointed from my actions, this gives me an idea that I'm very hard to be around. If my father is talking about me in a negative way to others, saying about how difficult I am, or how naughty I've been, or how tiring I have made him, or unappreciative, this is what I learn about myself. It would be very difficult for me to try to change this. So if we try to think, why do we as parents do that? Most of the time, we are always doing this with good intentions. We think that we are helping children when we mention what they're doing wrong or how they're not, where we're criticizing, we're helping them be better. But as we know for sure that this does not help. What helps is you believing in me and showing me what I can do, focusing on the positive, focusing on what I do well, focusing on seeing my capabilities, showing me things that I don't know about myself, believing in me, accepting me for who I am. As a child, I have the needs to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel accepted the way I am, to feel appreciated for what I am. And once I receive this state, this is when I start accepting to try new things and not worry about failure and not worry about making mistakes and exploring my potentials and getting over my challenges. So let's take a moment to try to focus on what's the positive that's happening in our children's lives, especially with what we call the difficult child, for instance, which is again a very difficult label. But for instance, when a parent comes to meet me and starts saying about all the things that their child has been challenging them with, he is frustrating, he is not listening, he is not trying hard enough, he is giving up easily, she is very emotional, she is very sensitive. And then I stop and ask, what do you like about them? And sometimes they don't have an answer. Sometimes they told me, well, they're my children, of course I love them, and I'm sure of that. But I'm asking very specifically, what do you like about them? What do you, because I'm sure that this is, at the end of the day, what you're describing is what they think of themselves. And sometimes when we focus too much on the things that we don't like, we miss out on the good things that the children are doing all the time and the amazing traits that God has put in them, and God has made every child unique and has their own potential and has their own special talents and skills and abilities. And we miss this sometimes. So let's try to focus on the positive actions. Let's try to comment on the performance, on the effort, not just the results, which is, subhanAllah, what God has always asked us to focus on sa'i, on our own work and effort, because we are not in charge of how the results are going to be, but we are very much in charge of what we do. So when we believe we can do more, when we believe our effort is appreciated, we're more likely to try harder. So focus on the effort, focus on the performance, focus on the development, focus on, if you don't find anything, focus on what they might have been doing wrong and they didn't. Like, for instance, I've noticed today that your sister had tried to annoy you, but you were very calm and you didn't respond to this with anger. So you can even comment on the things that they sometimes, most of the time they respond with anger, and for one day they we're calm and thought about it, well, this is where we come in, this is when we show them, because if you show me that I can do better, this is gonna motivate me to try harder and do better. If I feel that there is no hope in me, by time I'm gonna give up on myself. So let's take a moment to focus on the good things, and this is one of the ways to teach our children to focus on the positive as well and be grateful for what they have. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.